The Long Walk, easily off the title alone, I would totally understand if you mistook it for either a romantic comedy and dismiss it immediately, something starring like Mandy Moore, if she's still doing movies at all. She was a piece of ass, respectfully, of course, back in her time. And or The Long Walk would be something that you'd probably recommend the standard Buffalonian should do more often, since everybody's driving everywhere, everything's got a drive-through, they're everywhere. The Long Walk, title easily dismissible as far as that's concerned. If you never read the book, like I never have, from Stephen King, I believe I read that was his first novel under a fake name because not that he was ashamed, but just didn't want the credit or something like that. I don't know exactly. Feel free to correct me though. I think that was his first body of work writing-wise. Like his commentary on the Vietnam War, which is really evident throughout the thing. I'm going to say first off, the movie itself, $20 million budget. I would say, I think Stephen King movies in general have done pretty well. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not too up on Stephen King in general, but I could see this making its money back. I'm kind of stuck in limbo between yes and no. I'm going to leave it at a maybe for now. I could see it making its money back and then some. I don't see it making too much above the budget. I could be totally wrong, and I hope I am, because here's the thing. I really like the movie. Now that's simple enough to say about anything you just watched, which I watched yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And it's still with me. It's gripping. It's dramatic. It's scary at some points. The whole... If you ever watched The Hunger Games, preferably the first two, I forget there was 5 of them, right? 1 and 2, of course, shouts to Jennifer Lawrence, he's fast. There was Mockingjay, I think, what was it, part 1 and 2, which would have been a really long movie in itself had it been just a long-ass part 3. Didn't love it, either or. Love the first one, love the second one, but this is pretty much The Hunger Games with no games involved beyond just an endless walk, no finish line. The only way to win is to withstand your fellow walking buddies by force, by gunpoint. Because basically the whole premise is it's in a, what do you call it, like a dystopian type of future. It's an undetermined time era, so it could be hinting at like the 50s interpretation of the future or the 90s interpretation of the future. I like that part. It's very vague as far as like they got these dog tags they put around the participants of the Long Walk, which is basically the government's way of like selecting, I forget that part, I think it was like 50 men of a certain age, young men obviously, representing each state. So I guess there was somebody from Hawaii and Alaska. But how many states do we have again physically? Oh shit, I'm proving how long I've been out of school for. I can't remember. But I do remember them saying 50 participants, each one represents a state, and they each got dog tags on them with numbers. They're all numbers at some point instead of names or individuals, and they're supposed to walk at all times above 3 miles per hour. So once they start to walk under 3 miles per hour, they start giving warnings. And each warning is pretty much a soldier on call pointing a gun at a whole carbine rifle at them. You only get 3 warnings. If you make the third, they don't know what happens at the third warning. No one ever tells them, because I guess no one ever lives to tell them about it. But apparently the third warning, now they find out firsthand as they take the walk, is they get popped in the head, they get killed on sight. And no removing of the body, no taking care of the carcass out of respect, nothing. They just leave you dead on the fucking ground wherever they popped you in the head. So the whole point of that shit is it's this yearly thing, 50 guys, no girls, 50 guys, young men, walking. Whoever makes it to the very end survives the whole walk, which is no like 300 miles and that's it, or finish line. It's just whoever makes it and still standing after everyone else is dropped dead or been killed, then That's the victor, and the victor gets an undisclosed large amount of money and one wish that the government grants, because it's like the version of the future where the government takes control of everything. There was a big ass war. It seems like it's hinting at like I don't know my politics like that, but like more like a communist regime where you can't speak afoul of the government. They're monitoring, they hear you at all times. The main guy, Connor, what was his name? Connor Hoffman. Right. He plays Ray in the movie. He's one of the 50 young kids doing the walk. His dad got popped, as we see in the flashback halfway through. His dad got popped in the head as he got dragged out of his home in the middle of dinner with his mom and him, because he was spreading propaganda against the Major, played by Mark Hamill, which I'm not too impressed by the job he did here. It seemed like he was overacting, which I don't expect from Mark Hamill too much. I see him in other things. I have not seen him or heard him in any of the Star Wars things he's done, because I still got to catch up on Star Wars everything. But he overdoes it voice-wise as the Major. Like the Major, head of the military that recruits all the 50 kids that have to do the walk, not by choice but by force, in a random lottery where they're all selected. He drags out the dad. The dad's spreading propaganda about like, don't listen to the government, they're doing this wrong, they're doing this dirty and all this shit. And he gets popped in the head for saying, I'll give you a chance to live and be with your wife and kid, so long as you pledge allegiance to the government, and I'll forgive you, I'll let you slide on this one. But he says, no, fuck that. And he turns to his kid, Ray in this case. He's like, remember who you are, don't be a fucking rat, don't be a sheep, whatever. And then boom, he gets popped in the head, dead, at least. The R rating is earned, and I respect it for earning its R rating. I wouldn't say a hard R, but besides the multiple usage of the word fuck throughout from start to finish, holy shit. The way these kids die, they're not underage, but they're implied. Some of them are young, some of them are like not of the age needed to be. But the way some of them die, though, it's pretty graphic. What's the term they use a lot? What, body horror? Like that? I could see it being applicable here, because it's a lot of clean shots to the head. The very first death they show the first kid to prove, hey, keep up over 3 miles per hour as you walk, or else, pretty much. It's a clean shot from the back of the head through the front of the jaw. The kid's head is dangling on his shoulders, and he just slumps over on the road, and they leave him there like a piece of trash. And the kids that die, the bodies that stack up and get left behind as the ship progresses, it's pretty graphic, it's pretty detailed, and again, like a $20 million budget, it almost seems like more would have been spent. But it looks really good. It sounds crazy to say like a bloody mangled head with like brain and like tissue exposed looks really good, but it looks really good in the sense of, if you're into a little horror shit, or if you're like, I want it to look like what it would look like if a carbine rifle shot me through the back of the head and came out through the front of my jaw, you're going to get your money's worth on the big ass screen, the biggest screen possible you could find for this thing. So that's why I would recommend it in theaters, because the deaths are graphic. There's a lot of doom and gloom, like overseeing them as they walk, as they make it through 20 miles, 50 miles, 100 miles, 300 miles towards the fucking end. But the one thing I didn't love so much upon reading and Googling, well, again, I didn't have time to read the book before going to watch the movie, but when I Googled the ending of the book compared to the ending of the movie itself, this is where a lot of people might have differences of opinions, and or they might even say, hey, I read the book and the movie's so different, they went woke, of course, with the choice. Apparently in the book, as I'll describe first, there's Ray Cooper Hoffman in the movie, the white guy, let's just say, the home state favorite, and then there's what's his name, Peter. There's the black kid. They make friends throughout the long walk. They're like 1 and 2 pretty much throughout the whole time. they stick with each other, like they're falling asleep while walking, literally sleepwalking. They keep each other up, they motivate each other. At some point, Peter, the black kid, tells Ray, hey, vengeance ain't the whole motif that you should be striving for to win the whole long walk. You should do it to make a difference, make a change in the world. Because I forgot to mention that part, that Ray, the white kid, obviously he had his dad killed by the major, popped in the head for spreading propaganda against the government at this point. His own motive for winning the long walk is to outlast everybody, but also to make it back home to his mom, but also he makes it clear he don't care about the money. He cares more about the one wish they get granted by the government or by the major, which is he wants to wish for one of the carbine rifles on hand by one of the soldiers nearby to snatch up and immediately shoot the major in the head as payback for killing his dad in plain sight of him and his mom. Peter's telling him, after Ray confesses that to him, eventually he's like, no, don't live like that. Don't live your life based off just trying to get revenge. It leads you nowhere. It doesn't bring your dad back, etc., etc., which makes a lot of sense. So in the book, it's down to 3 kids left. It's the major's son, I forget his name in the Stebbins, I think. He's the major's son, who the major actually makes walk throughout the whole time as one of the 50. The white kid Ray, the black kid Peter. Stebbins gives himself up. I think in the book, Stebbins, the major's son, gives up at some point. The black kid Peter also just sits there, just wants Ray to get his vengeance. And Ray does win. The white kid does win in the book, the long walk. But he just keeps on walking after 300 miles of straight walking and no sleeping, barely eating anything. They just keeps on walking because he just eventually snapped and lost his mind and continues to walk. So in the movie, instead, how it ends is Stebbins, the major's son, his own son, is like, his body's failing him, he's getting sick throughout the whole walk, he can't take it no more. He finally makes friends with Ray and Peter, and he's like, he confesses he's the son. He knows everything about the long walk because the major told him basically what to expect, how the body will fail you as you walk too much or for that long and shit. And since he's living through it and he doesn't want to be like his little rabbit, his guinea pig anymore, he just stands there while they're crossing over a bridge at night and waits to get shot in the head, which he does, and they leave him behind, because that's the rules of the long walk. When they make it to the city after mile 330 something, I think, the black kid Peter is like, okay, I'm gonna let you win because you want it more than me. Obviously you want to get your vengeance, why not, fuck it. But then Ray picks him up and says, nah, I can't let you do that, we gotta finish this together, let's just fucking die together if we have to, pretty much. But he fools him, he lets him keep walking, Peter. Meanwhile, Ray, the white kid, the whole, the lead in this whole thing, I forget if he kneels down, he just sits down on the ground and just gives up pretty much at that point. He just wants Peter to have it instead, since he was the one talking about changing the world and the kumbaya shit, instead of wanting to kill somebody, get vengeance at the very end as a prize. He gets shot in the head, he's killed, and now Peter is the winner, the black kid, of course. And he does get told, yeah, you won, you made your country proud, the whole nation, the whole world watching proud and everything. You get the money, you'll get that at a later undisclosed time, but now what's your wish, son? As the major looks at him. And immediately he says, I want a carbine, but I want the one on that soldier looking across from me right now at this very moment. Takes it from him. He's not gonna do nothing, he's not like he's gonna shoot me right now, nothing, but immediately takes the gun and aims it at the major's head. Major's like, the major's still kind of like, nah, this kid's too pussy to do anything right now in front of a live viewing audience or whatever. But he does end up saying, this one's for Ray. Boom, pops him in the head. And I think in that case they did allude to Peter snapping after giving in to what Ray wanted to do all along. I don't remember, or I didn't notice if he saw a shadowy figure or something at the very end of the rest of the city he would have walked had Ray lived to make it to the end of the long walk. But he just keeps on walking too, with no plain end in sight. So it seems like he eventually snapped too, because he gave into Ray's behalf the vengeance that he wanted to get on the major, killed somebody. He didn't really have to. And then, well, yeah, he just loses his mind, keeps on walking, and that's the very end. So the win was for nothing at the end of the day. You know, one kid bullies another pretty much into getting himself killed by the military there. There's one kid that can't take it anymore. He openly confesses he's scared. He wants his mom. He wants to go back home and shit. Just jumps on one of the tanks, snatches a rifle off one of the soldiers, shoots him dead, only to get shot in the hand, in the gut. Takes the carbine rifle when he's getting his warnings. He's on the final one, just takes and shoots himself in the head. It's a clean shot. You can see like full up close and everything. Another kid earlier tries to like jump on a tank. He gets gun butted in the face, knocked out, and gets his legs ran over smooth by the fucking tank. So he's pretty much dead. He's got no legs, and he still gets his warnings and get popped in the head anyway. One kid strips naked. He's like gone mental already. Runs off, can't handle it no more. Runs off the main road. Gets popped for like not following the rules. There's a kid that still wants to walk, complete it, because his whole plan was to like make a book about the long walk if he was the one to win, which he looked like he clearly wasn't. He was a nerd at best who just happens to be skinny and can maybe last a long walk, but he's like at some point walking on like his ankle twisting in a way where his foot was inward, so he's like walking on a stub pretty much. He can't make it at a certain point, so he gets popped in the head. You feel for a lot of these kids, and it's crazy because there are 50 of them. There's like maybe 10 or so you start to like develop something like backstories for. You feel for each one when they get killed. The changing of the endings from the book versus the movie, as I looked it up because I was curious like that, does make me question, had they stuck with the novel ending, meaning the black kid sits there, dies just so the white kid can win at the end, versus how they switch the roles now where the white kid dies because he just gives up at some point, even though they were both pretty like fucking bugs over here in Buffalo, goddammit. The white kid at some point just gives up, sits down, you know, takes the L because he realizes, or it dawns on him, like, I am just doing this for vengeance. I'm no better than like the major at this point. If I just kill him, it doesn't bring my father back, and just sits down, accepts his faith. And meanwhile, he's got his mother waiting for him, hopefully to clear the finish line as the winner and go back home with her, versus Peter, who was like homeless from like a young age. He says he never met his parents. He was adopted by a drunk uncle who would beat him every day, who died anyway. He's pretty much raised on the streets. There's nothing for him left besides money and like, you know, honoring Ray's memory, since they became brothers pretty much during a long walk. Yeah, it makes me think, had they changed the ending, had they left the ending, excuse me, as they did the novel, I don't know, I think it would have been just about the same, because it's like that old saying where it's not about the end goal, it's about the journey, how you get there. This movie is literally that. It's like the whole build up towards the end is not what you really are looking forward to. It's like the brotherhood, the bonds formed during the walk amongst these kids who are just kids when you really look back at it. Of course, it's a movie. I'm not looking at it like it's real, but you know what I mean. The story told, how it develops and fleshes out each character, as many as there are. It's like, damn, you grow up bad. You feel bad for these kids when they fucking die, one by one. But overall, really good movie. I enjoyed myself very much with this one the whole time. It's like just under 2 hours, but it doesn't feel like the 2 hours. The way the music cues in when it's supposed to be dramatic and sad, somebody just passed, there's tension building, drama unfolding, you know, kids are getting popped off one by one and shit. It's a really good, well, solid, put together movie. I really hope this makes at least triple its budget back. It's not like they're going to make The Long Walk 2 or like make it a yearly thing, or God forbid this ever becomes a real thing in real life. Please no. Besides, I'm too old to participate, but still. Long Walk, highly recommend. A lot of fun. If you're into Stephen King shit like the novels and the movies, I guess I don't have to sell you on this, but if you're like me, never having read anything Stephen King and or watched the Stephen King movie, not on purpose, just I never got around to it, this for me was a good start, a great start actually. I'm going to check out the book just out of curiosity, because believe it or not, as dumb as I look, I do read, and I read very well and very fast, and I can retain a lot from what I read. Trust me, I read through enough Playboys to do so. All the real ones old enough to know what I'm talking about know what it is. But yeah, highly recommend the long walk. This has been Who That's Been Watching as I continue my long walk home. I just had to take a little break to kind of gather my thoughts and touch upon the long walk in theaters right now as we speak. Go check it out. I highly recommend. I co-sign. If you like it, great. If you love it, even better. And if you don't like it, well, don't blame me. Why did you trust a guy in the fucking internet randomly like that? Peace out. At Who This Is One for the socials. At Who This Is One's the same tag on YouTube and or Twitch as well. The catch me live streaming and or wherever I post a video version, whatever the fuck I do out here, just like this long walk back home. Appreciate you.
I saw this coming, and my God, I jumped on it with both hands and been holding on. My ass! My ass!
When I think of asses, woman's ass, something comes out of me.
I don't eat ice, I kick ice! You stupid ice!
You cannot give up yet. You did not let me or my fat ass down, okay?
Yo, it's over. Alright, it's over. It's over. Move the mic. Move the mic.
Thank you!
Alright.